Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to do a top 10 list of my all-time favorite Primus albums. So let us not waste any time. And at number 10 we have the Desaturated 7, the latest album, which personally I don't feel like it's too inspired. I feel like here we have a band sort of losing their edge. They are leaning in more into progressive rock, but not doing anything terribly interesting. The album is pretty short. It is not terrible, but it's an album that I don't tend to go back to. At number 9, we have Tales from the Punch Bowl, which sort of bookends their golden era, because the first 3 albums were just truly epic. And I'm not counting Suck on This, which was a live production prior to their first formal album, which would be Frizzly Fry. Outside of a couple really awesome tracks like Winona's Big Brown Beaver and Professor Nut Butter, the rest of the album has songs that are just jams. They don't have too much structure to them. Most of the album just does not go anywhere. At number 8, I put Rhinoplasty, which is actually an EP. Most of it is composed of covers. My 2 favorites are Silly Putty from Stanley Clarke and The Family's Fishing Net by Peter Gabriel. That one's really awesome. But on some of the other tracks, we have Les really struggling with the vocals. But we do have a really awesome live version of Tommy the Cat on this one. At number 7, we have the Brown Album, where we have the first lineup change to the band. Tim the Herb Alexander's out and Brain the Brain Mantia's in. I really love his drumming style, and he does a good job. This album in general, it's pretty decent. I feel like maybe it's a good entry level if you want to get into Primus. It is less metal compared to the other albums of this particular era, but I do have to say it is pretty dark. Now at number 6, we have Primus and the Chocolate Factory with the Fungi Ensemble, which I feel falls more in line with Les's solo projects. It doesn't feel so much as a Primus album. It is gleefully bizarre, and there's some nice melodic moments that are sort of weird to hear within the context of Primus. At number 5, we have Green Naga Hide, where we have a band coming back from a hiatus. I re-listened to this album pretty recently, and I liked it much more than the first time I got my hands on it. It has really grown on me and has gone up, at least on my own personal ranking. I do have to say, here is when Les Claypool starts using more pedal effects on the bass, but he's not getting over-dependent on these effects. So from this point on, we're at pure gold terrain. These 4 last albums are fantastic from front to back. They're almost interchangeable for me. Like, they all are freaking awesome. So I put their first studio album at number 4, Frizzly Fry. It's just a tsunami of instrumental creativeness that is very heavy. Not only do they come out swinging on an instrumental level, Les's lyrics are really funny. And it's very impressive that on their first album, they have their sound and style so well defined. At number 3, we have Pork Soda. It's their 3rd studio album, and still they're riding high on this wave of creativity. I do have to say that this album has a little bit of filler on it, but this album has so many fantastic high points. And also, it has some very dark lyrical themes. I also really like the fact that Larry gets to shine on the Hamburger Train. It really shows off his crazy experimental guitar style. Now, at number 2, maybe a lot of Primus fans don't like this album, but I freaking love it. Antipop. Primus sort of jumped on the nu metal bandwagon, and even though this album is not nu metal by any stretch of the imagination, you can hear a little bit of its influence, and I do have to say that it's one of their heaviest albums in general. The mix to it is really fantastic. And at number 1, we have Seas of Cheese, a breathtaking album for a bass player. There are some moments on this album that broke my young bass player mind when I was a kid and I first listened to this album. I was like, how the hell does Les do all this crazy shit? And it's pretty insane to think that Jerry the Race Car Driver got rotation on the radio, and it has one of the heaviest and sickest choruses in the history of music, while its verse is so gleefully bizarre with that bass line by Les that's tapped. So there's so many things that I can say about this album, but I'm going to leave it here. This is going to be the first Primus ranking that I'm going to do. Later on this month, hopefully, I'm going to do a second ranking where I'm going to have everything from Primus and all of Les's solo stuff. But for now, I hope you guys like this video. See you guys next time. Bye.